Hey, what is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. On today's video, we are going over ADA Cardano. The clock is ticking. So what I mean by this is that we are starting to get into hustle mode, right? We are starting to get into the season in which we are about to see a breakout to the upside or to the downside, which is going to have a lot of short and midterm implications. Okay. Now, what I mean by that is, of course, in yesterday's video, we were keeping a very close eye on this rising wedge in which I said looked like we were entering into the danger zone in the short term, that if we lost this channel here, expect a bit of a fall to the downside, which is of course exactly what we saw, as it is looking to try to fall and establish hopefully some type of support here, possibly on top of about 215 to 211, right? But what we're looking at is going to be the breakout of this, this little wedge that we've been seeing over the last month, and it should be happening within the next 9 days. I'm under the belief that within the next 9 days, we are going to see a breakout in either direction, and it does somewhat, coincidentally, quote unquote, line up with the fact that September is historically a terrible month for crypto, right? And so if we can see ourselves get out of September, I'm just personally under the belief that there's a chance going into October, we do see that breakout to the upside. I don't know what it is about September. I know there's some technical factors that go into it, but we see that, we just need to get out of it. And the clock is ticking. We're only got 3 days left in September. And then from there, we can see that we'll be lined up perfectly to start seeing that breakout in either direction. So what we're going to talk about today is both options. We're going to talk about what happens if we go up and what happens if we go down. No one on YouTube knows what is going to happen. Let me make this clear. Not a single person on YouTube can confidently say 100% that they know we are going to go up or we are going to go down. If they do, they are lying, okay? But what I do is I try to prepare you for both outcomes. I try to prepare you for if it goes up or if it goes down. I will never sit here and say, oh, it's for sure going to do this. Because if it doesn't, you're not, from my side, you're not as prepared as possible for that secondary outcome. Okay, so let's talk about both of these options. So if we do start to work our way to the upside, I think that is going to be absolutely huge. Now, I think this is the more likely option. I'm not going to tell you for sure, but I think it's more likely that we do break out to the upside. Now, the first reason being that we were able to escape this just bad momentum that we were seeing on the daily RSI. If we go out to the daily RSI, you can see this trend line in which we were stuck in, which was just smashing the price. We would approach it, and we were just unable to get through it. It was real nasty. But from there, we did find that buying pressure to push us out of that falling wedge. Now, you can also see on the RSI that we are getting very close to oversold territory. The last time we approached this level, you can see, was right back here, in which we found that bottom, and boom, we saw that 215 to 220% gain off of that bottom, right? And so what we're looking to see here is that we do establish this support, is that on the RSI, we find that bottom, which could be the bottom of our wedge, and then more of a triangle, but you get the point. And then we see that big move to the upside, which allows us to see this growth. Because remember, again, this is what happened the last time we had that amount of room to the upside. So if we are able to see this thing reach this bottom and start to push back up to the top, I do believe we could very easily see this thing rolling back into the $340, $354 area. That is still within the realm of possibility. Now, a lot of this does rely on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can hold that 20 simple moving average, get out of September and work its way back up through the month of October, November, December, I don't see any reason as to why Cardano wouldn't be able to do the same. So personally speaking, if we are to see this happen, if we are to see the price start to roll here, I will be doing a lot of buying. I will be doing a lot of accumulating through this big move to the top side. Now, what that looks like for me, just a little quick run through of my strategy, is I'm just going to simply be using some of my Fibonacci swing low to swing highs and swing high to swing low levels. Now, what that means is, say we set this high here and we come back down to bounce one more time before seeing this exit. I'm going to take a Fibonacci and draw it from this high down to that low. When we see first and foremost this breakout of the trend line, that is going to be buy number one. Once we get two 4-hourly closes out of here, I would be looking to pick up, say if I have $1,000 to put into the market, I'm putting $250 in right here, okay? Now, the next $750 is going to come every time we clear one of these key 786 levels on the Fibonacci's. So on the Fibonacci, when you draw it, there will be a 786 to a 618 level. Mine's this green box. Every time we clear this green box and establish support, I'm going to put in another 250. Now, off of that bottom, I'm just going to keep that bottom in place, take the high, and move it up to the next local high. When we clear this 786, putting in 250. When we clear our final 786, putting in another 250. And I'm going to ride this wave, and I'm going to dollar cost average it in all the way up past those key levels of resistance. Because even though we could look at a breakout to the top side, if we run into one of those levels of resistance too hard, it could definitely push us back down into our downtrend. Okay, I'm not going to be 100% confident of a bull market continuation until we clear that final 786. And so at that point, I will be more confident and willing to put in the rest of my available cash. Okay, so that's my plan for the upside, to dollar cost average my way in through this. Now, it may happen fast. I might be doing all of these buys in one day, but that is still my move. That's still my strategy to limit and mitigate risk as much as I possibly can. Now, if we were to see a fall to the downside, if this thing was to collapse and start to roll over, again, I don't believe that it would be the end of the world until we lost $1.46. Now, I say the end of the world in the sense that we would enter into some pretty extensive bear market. Okay, that's my honest opinion. We lose $1.46, expect this thing to start to get a little gross. Okay. Now, the reason I say that is because we still have our most important level of support under us. It's still under us. We're not in it. We're not close to it yet. We're still about 16% above it. It's still under us, which is great. Now, of course, in the short term, we would love to see that we are able to hold this low down here at $1.90. The reason being, because when we have these big moves, these impulsive Elliott wave theory, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, of course, coming after 5, often we'll see this ABC correction. Well, off this C, this low that we set, this C right here, we got to go up and set this high, come back down and set a higher low. In order to do that, that starts it again. 1, 2, of course, 3, 4, and you get the hint, and we start to work this uptrend off of this ABC correction. Now, if we were to lose C, that invalidates that and puts us into some type of ABCD, D up here, of course, and then some E wave all the way back down to the downside. And of course, that just goes to show that we're not continuing this uptrend right now. So in the short term, if we do want to see this uptrend continue, we got to put in a lower low, at least at an exact level, at the same exact level as C, or a higher low. I'm sorry, not a lower low. Of course, no, we don't want no lower lows. We want to put in that higher low there and then see this uptrend continue to set that higher high, right? Now, if we were to lose C, again, I still do not believe it's the end of the world. We're just probably looking at a more, extensive few weeks to possibly 1 or 2 months of some type of downtrend happening. Again, I don't think this is likely, but it is within the realm of possibility. Now, the reason I was saying that our most important key level is still under us is because of this big move we saw here. Now, if we jump out to another chart that has a little bit more of a time frame, one thing in which we can see, let's clear this up a bit, is that if we come off this bottom in which we had set down here in our previous wave, let's go from our bottom to the top, to our top of our wave. We can see that off of this big move, we came back down to establish support on top of this 618, 786 green box multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4. We accumulated in this box and then took advantage of this big run. Now, what we can do is if we simply just look at this new low that's here, boom, right there, and we go into this big wave, we can see that below that $1.90, that, where our C wave is, our C wave is going to be somewhere right, let's get this line, our C wave is right here. We can see that we still have that key level of support between $1.81 to $1.46 under us. So if we do follow a similar trend as we did here, in which we keep bouncing off of it, we could for sure be looking at something like this happening. Boom, 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 continuation to the upside. I'm not going to rule this thing out and saying that we can't continue this bull run until we lose that 786, which is at $1.46. If we lose $1.46, my honest opinion is that there's a good chance we may start to come back down and trade between $1.46 to $1 itself. I don't think we lose $1. Now, we have so much ADA staked that I just don't see this happening. Another reason I don't see this happening is our daily RSI. Now, what we can see here is that ADA is getting really close to working its way back down to oversold territory. The last time we were in oversold territory was when we were at $1, which is when the price saw this massive reversal to the upside. We slowly worked our way down on this RSI, and the moment we touched that oversold, boom, explosion to the upside. Well, sitting still above $2.15, we are getting very close. Now, to put this in perspective, in this move here, when we were at the same exact level on the RSI, we can go up and see that the price was down at $1.19. So from $1.19, it only went down 19 more cents before reaching this bottom of this RSI and seeing this massive wave to the upside. So I don't imagine ADA's price falling another 50%, or even, all the way down over another dollar back down to $1.20 or anything like that before finding some support in this RSI and working its way up. I just don't see that happening. I don't think that's likely. Possible, but unlikely in my opinion. So overall, as long as we do either hold first and foremost our C wave, which is going to be again at $1.91, or at bare minimum, we enter into a little midterm pullback here in which we find some support at least above $1.46, I still think there's room to work our way back up to the upside before the bull run does end. And I still think that there's a possibility of us setting a new high before we do peak out before this end of this run. Now, many of you may be saying, well, Tyler, the run's almost over, right? We're approaching December. I'm a big fan of Benjamin Cohen. If you guys don't know, go check out his YouTube channel, but he talks about lengthening cycles. I think that's a very, very real theory. I think each cycle is getting longer, and I do believe this bull run could still have another 4 to 5 months left in it. And so even if over the next month we do kind of consolidate down, I still do think there's time to see that massive parabolic move to the upside and then setting the new high. So that's just kind of like a breakdown of what we're looking at now. We're running out of time in the short term to see a breakout in either direction, but we still do have all of this potential down here, and there's still that potential to the upside. So of course I will update you guys as we do start to get closer to these levels, as we do start to get closer to some key support levels. But until then, just do remember that what we're seeing right now is healthy, it's natural, and we're still just seeing a basic retracement at the moment. Okay, so with that being said, that's going to be about it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Of course, if you did, you can let me know by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new, and I will see you all next time. Peace.